The German Football Association held a formal internal meeting to discuss boycotting the World Cup. They admitted it publicly, then immediately said debates on sports policy should be conducted internally and not in public, which means they were embarrassed the meeting became known, which means the meeting was serious enough to cause embarrassment. A major European football federation. Formal emergency meeting. Subject: should we pull out of the World Cup 3 days before kickoff? That sentence has never existed before in the history of football, and it is not the only one. The heads of 20 European soccer federations discussed boycott action. Former FIFA president Sepp Blatter told fans directly to skip American-hosted matches. A Dutch petition demanding the Netherlands withdraw gathered 174,000 signatures in days. An EU-wide petition calling for a full European boycott if the United States takes military action against any participating nation during the tournament has been circulating since February. The tournament starts tomorrow, and Europe's relationship with it has fractured in a way that no opening ceremony can repair. Here is every piece of that fracture, in order, with the specific names and statements that prove this is real. If this is the coverage that cuts through the noise for you, subscribe to Canada Briefs right now, one tap, and drop a comment. Be specific. Do you think European fans should attend US-hosted matches or stay home? Tell us exactly where you stand. German Soccer Federation executive Oke Getlich, vice president of the German Football Association and president of FC St. Pauli, told the Hamburger Morgenpost newspaper directly. He said he really wondered when the time would be to think and talk about a boycott concretely. For him, that time had definitely come. Oke Getlich is not a fringe voice. He is a vice president of one of the most powerful football federations in the world. His comments were published in a major German national newspaper. They triggered an emergency internal response. The German Football Federation ruled out a boycott but confirmed it had held meetings to discuss the possibility. Its official statement said the federation believes in the unifying power of sport and the global impact that a FIFA World Cup can have. It also said debates on sports policy should be conducted internally and not in public. That second sentence is the one that matters. A football federation telling its own officials not to discuss boycotts in public is a federation that knows its own house is divided. Official statements rule out boycotts. Emergency internal meetings about boycotts happen anyway. The contradiction between those two facts tells you more about FIFA's political crisis than any press release can. The fracture started with one specific moment, and it is important to name it precisely because it changed how European football figures assessed FIFA's relationship with the American administration. At the FIFA World Cup 2026 official draw at the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C. on December 5, 2025, FIFA President Gianni Infantino presented Donald Trump with the inaugural FIFA Peace Prize, the FIFA Peace Prize, given to the President of the United States. At the World Cup draw, while Iran's supreme leader had been killed in U.S. and Israeli-backed airstrikes weeks earlier, while travel bans on 39 countries were in force, while fans from 4 qualified nations were legally prohibited from entering the host country, figures across Europe floated boycotts as a last resort to pressure Trump after Infantino awarded him the FIFA Peace Prize. That is not a vague sentiment. It is a documented cause and effect sequence. FIFA's leadership made a political choice. European football responded with boycott discussions. Those discussions reached the level of formal federation meetings. Infantino chose his relationship with Trump over his credibility with Europe, and Europe noticed. Now here is the dimension that goes beyond Germany and the Netherlands, because this is not a two-country conversation. Discussions about boycotting this World Cup came from soccer coaches, politicians, and civilians, including the heads of 20 European soccer federations. While none ultimately came to fruition, the Council on Foreign Relations confirmed an analysis published June 8, 2026 that boycotts from individuals or fan groups are more likely than team withdrawals. 20 federation heads, not 20 fans, not 20 politicians. The senior administrative leadership of 20 European football bodies discussing whether their national teams should participate in the tournament that FIFA has been building for 8 years. An EU petition calling for a full boycott of the 2026 World Cup if the United States attacks militarily or breaches international law against any participating nation, including Iran, Mexico, Colombia, and Denmark, including its territory Greenland, gathered significant signatures across Europe. That petition is conditional. It does not call for an immediate boycott. It calls for one if American military aggression occurs against a participating nation during the tournament. The fact that such a petition was considered necessary is itself the statement. European citizens believe the condition it describes is possible. They believe the United States is capable of taking military action against a tournament participant while hosting the tournament. That belief, widespread enough to generate a major petition, reflects a collapse of confidence in the political neutrality of this World Cup that FIFA has not addressed and apparently cannot address given its leadership's relationship with Washington. Here is the rehook, because the team boycotts did not happen. And the reason they did not happen is worth understanding before dismissing European resistance as empty talk. Despite the boycott discussions, the odds of countries withholding their teams remain incredibly low. At the end of the day, players want that shot. That is the honest assessment from CFR. The players want the World Cup. 23-year-old footballers who have spent their entire lives working toward this tournament are not going to accept a political decision that ends their shot at the biggest stage in their sport. The federation leaders know this, which is why the formal meetings concluded in the same place. Going, but changed. Changed in a way that will not disappear after the final whistle, because the relationship between European football and FIFA has been permanently altered by what happened in the months leading to this tournament. The German FA admitted it held emergency meetings. The Dutch FA watched 174,000 citizens sign a withdrawal petition. Sepp Blatter, the man who ran FIFA for 17 years, publicly told fans to skip American matches. These are not positions that reverse because the football turns out to be good. Amnesty International issued a report in late March 2026, characterizing the United States as experiencing a human rights emergency, marked by abusive immigration enforcement. The report was specifically timed ahead of the World Cup to highlight the risks facing international visitors. A human rights emergency. The description applied to the host country of the world's most watched sporting event, 3 days before kickoff, by the organization that has spent decades documenting exactly this kind of environment. FIFA's response was to say it was focused on the football. That gap between what is happening and what FIFA is willing to say about it is the political crisis Europe is reacting to. Not the travel bans alone. Not the Iran situation alone. Not the visa processing failures that stranded South Africa at OR Tambo Airport. Not the DRC's 21-day quarantine bubble. Not Pochettino negotiating his next contract while his team trains behind him. All of it combined. Building since December, reaching a level that forced formal emergency meetings inside major European football federations. Europe said enough. The teams are still going. The football will still happen. But FIFA walks into this tournament carrying something it has never carried before. The documented, formal, publicly acknowledged reality that some of its most powerful member federations sat in rooms and seriously discussed whether participating was the right thing to do. That discussion happened. It is on record, and nothing that occurs inside the stadiums over the next 39 days will make it unhappen.